Hey there, I'm Darryll, your IT specialist, breaking down tech solutions to level up your digital game. You know how it is? Today, we're diving into three powerful Excel functions: the if, the IFS function, and the switch. If you've ever wondered how to handle multiple conditions in Excel without getting tangled into a web of formulas, it can get complicated, this video is for you. All right, let's get straight into example. Let's say we have a simple grading system for a group of students. I've put together a table here with their names and scores. And our goal is to assign grades based on their scores. Here's our setup. Each student has a score. Here's a score column. And we'll use Excel to assign them a grade from A to F. The grading scale we'll follow is this. A is 90 and above, B 80 and above, C 70 and above, D 60 and above. All right, so between these ranges. So if you had a B, you would be between 80 and 89. Let's start with the if function. The if function is great for handling a single condition. But if we want to assign multiple grades based on different score ranges, we need to use nested if statements. Here is what the nested if statement will look like. We get into our formula bar. We click the cell where we want the formula. With Excel, we start with the equal sign, the name of the function, if, and then the logical test. We're going to test if this score, first of all, is greater than or equal to 90. So we reference it with B2, that's the cell number, and greater than or equal to, that's the condition. And I could manually type 90 here, but I like following best rules of thumb for Excel, so I'll reference it from another cell, which is this G3, and then I'll lock it with the F4. If you want to know more about absolute referencing and relative referencing, leave a comment in the below the description, and I'll make a video about that. But this is what we call absolute referencing. Okay, then we have tested the condition to see if this is greater than or equal to 90, this 90 that you see highlighted here. If that's the case, I want the value of this cell to be this A. Again, absolute referencing, F4. Okay, and then we just do that for the next condition, because the formula is going to come, check this condition first. If it's not true, it goes to the next condition. So we won't provide a false value here, but then we'll just enter straight into another if, hence the name nested if. We had an if statement here, we have a true value, and instead of supplying a false value, we're going straight into another if statement, which is the nested if. And we're testing same B2, if it's greater than or equal to. Since this has failed, we now need to check for this next condition, which is 80. All right, then we get the value there. And then we just do this for the rest of the conditions. So I'm just going to do this until I reach F. So just the watch, because it's going to be the same things until F. Then when I reach F, I'll explain something there. Okay, so when we reach the second last condition, which is the D, we're checking if B2, all right, is greater than or equal to 60. All right, if that's true, we give it a D. Now, this is our last condition. So instead of jumping into another nested if to check if it's below, the quickest way, because we could go here and say if B2 is less than or equal to, or is less than 60, yes, then we would assign it D. But we don't want to do that, because that's just getting complicated. We'll just add a false statement here that says, okay, if this is not the case, then we've got our last condition, and then we'll just assign it this, which is an F. And there we have it. We're done. Now the thing with nested ifs is all of these ifs that you're opening with brackets, you need to have closed off all the brackets. So you might need to manually count, or if you're good at it. I never get it right, so Excel usually corrects me. But this time I got it right, thank goodness. Okay, so this this formula will work throughout all of these scores. So I can just go to the bottom, double click, and there we have our values updated, and we can just double check. Is 48 really an F? Yes, because it's below 60. Is 91 really an A? Yes, because it's above 90. And that's how you do nested ifs. Okay, now let me show you a simpler option, the IFS function. This function allows us to evaluate multiple conditions just like nested ifs in a single straightforward function formula, the IFS function. There is no need for nesting. Okay, so let's get into it. IFS function. Let's click the cell where we want to put the function. I like typing in the formula bar, but you can also just type inside this cell. This is my preferred method. So we say equals to, now instead of if, we're using the IFS function. All right, and again, the syntax is almost the same. All right, so we have a logical test, which by now you should know B2 are greater than or equal to 90. All right, what do we want? So here, this is where this gets interesting. It's telling us what value we should give it if it's true. Okay, if this is true, we want it to give A. Very straightforward. But then we look here. What is it looking for next? It's looking for the logical test again. So here now it's not looking for another if. It's just looking for another logical test like this. So instead of nesting, we just go straight into the function, which is very good. Let's go there. Greater than or equal to the next one, which is 80. And we want that to evaluate to a B. Then you close off your formula, press enter. Hopefully this should give us the same results as the IFS. We can drag that down, and there we have FF, DD, AA, CC, that. With IFS, we just type each condition and the result we want. The formula reads if the score is 90 or higher, then assigns A. Okay? Then straight into it, no other if statement. It checks if the score is 80 or higher, then assigns B, and so on. This way, IFS makes the formula easier to read and understand. If you can see, this is a lot less complicated than this. All right? Inside one function, achieve the same goal. All right. Now, let's look at the bonus part of my lesson, which is the switch function. We'll be using it to achieve the same goal, but this is also another powerful tool which we can use. This function is very useful when you have to set categories like this grading system, and each one is based on a single variable, okay, or cell reference if you would like. So let's let me explain this. Let's get straight into the formula. So I don't have a switch column. We'll just create that. Okay, let's get into it. Straight into it. Equals the name of the function, switch. So here it's looking for an expression. All right, and here this will look a bit confusing, but I'll explain it. I'm going to put true. All right, so here we're going to check B2, right, to check it if it is greater than or equal to 90. Okay, we need to lock that. If B2 is greater than or equal to 90, it will return a true. And if it's true, the result will be an A. Was that clear? If this expression results into a true value, then we get this. If it results in a false value, then we need to give it another condition, which is B2 greater than or equal to 80. But instead of 80, I'm going to use a cell reference there and give it a value of B, which is the result. And then we do the same for the rest. So just follow through as I type this formula. All right, when I reach my last condition, I press comma. So if you can see here, it's asking me for value 5. So another expression or the default. So the default is if all of these are not true, what value should we give? Then we should give F. Ironically, F is F7. Okay. We close it. We press enter. And we have the same result. Let's drag our formula down. And boom. Using a switch, if S and if, we've achieved the same goal. So here, I will explain the switch again. It checks, so it's checking if these expressions are evaluating to a true or a false. And what we're checking here is if they're evaluating to true. If they are, we're giving the value. If not, we're going to the next expression. So the first one, if this B2 is greater than or equal to 90, for this first one, let's get into that. Greater than or equal to 90, then this expression results into a true or false. So let's put 85 in there. Is 85 greater than or equal to 90? It's false. So if it's false, we're not going to give it this value, but we'll skip to the next expression. Is 85 greater than or equal to 80? If it's true, then here, we're going to give it a value of B, and so on and so forth. So that's how the switch works. All three functions give us the same results. If works, but can be complicated with multiple nested ifs. If S simplifies things by eliminating nesting, and switch offers another straightforward option for this specific setup. Choose the one that suits your needs best. As always, try each one to see which feels most comfortable to use. That's it for today's breakdown. If S, and switch in Excel. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment with any Excel question you want me to cover next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.